Alrighty guys, welcome back to the best investing money management channel on YouTube. I hope you guys are all having a great and amazing day today. Now in today's video, I kind of wanted to jump in and talk about really what's been going on in the stock market over the past couple of days, break down certain stocks. We want to look at AMC, Lululemon, and a variety of other ones that are making some pretty crazy moves and could possibly carry some potential. We'll also talk about just the general S&P 500 and answer these questions. Is the stock market going to crash? Are we doomed? Are we looking at a possible reversal? So we're going to be breaking all this stuff down, more of a laid back video today. So I hope you guys all enjoy it. If you guys do, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out when you guys do that. All right, so let's go ahead and pull up just the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 pretty much just represents the top 500 companies in the United States. You'll notice over the past year, we've seen just general volatility. Stocks sell, or the S&P selling off about 20%, and we've seen some buying pressure since then. Now, as of today, we saw a pretty solid day in the market. The stock market actually started to squeeze up a little bit. Now, if we go ahead and we understand why, there's a lot of people thinking that we are getting over all of these trends of, banks closing. Over the past week or so, we've seen a variety of banks like Signature, Silicon Valley Bank, and a couple other smaller ones starting to close their doors. Now, this caused a lot of panic in the marketplace. Anytime you have panic, what you're going to have is people wanting to sell their stock. And you'll notice we've seen, some decent sell-off here. Now, as of today, the stock market got in some general buying pressure. You'll notice it kind of squeezed up in the past day about 2.8%. Comparing, where we've seen a lot of volatility. Now, the reason why is because a lot of analysts, a lot of, investors think we're over this phase. Now, are we? Most likely. This was possibly just more of a short-term issue with those banks. Now, those banks are way different than like the average bank like Chase or your local credit union. Those banks, loaned millions of dollars to these very, very wealthy people. Actually, about 95% of the money they lent out or their, daily customers were people that had over the FDIC insured amount. Anytime you have that causes a lot of panic, and what happens is when one person starts to withdraw or gets nervous, it kind of starts this domino effect. And that's kind of what we saw with it is somebody tried to get their money out and they didn't have their funds, which they freaked out and had another person try to come in. They didn't have their funds, and it just started, to escalate very, very fast. So I think we're moving past that, which is great. Called it out as more of a short-term issue. If you guys went and saw some of my other videos, you guys would have noticed that if you're under the 250 grand of, your bank that's insured, you don't have any worries, right? So let's go ahead and pull up, some companies. Now, as of yesterday, what we saw, AMC making some pretty crazy moves. You'll notice this major buying pressure. Now, if we go to the 1 minute chart, you'll see it a little clearer here, where we go ahead and we zoom out. So yesterday, the stock pretty much went from $4.46 all the way up to $5.50. Now, this is because Amazon could possibly acquire or purchase AMC, which would be a crazy thing. And obviously, with AMC's past history, this stock has a tendency to see short squeezes, right? If we go to the daily chart, you'll notice this thing has gone from $4 to $45, back down to $5, back up to $10. The volatility is there. This thing loves to run. So obviously, anytime we have news like the company getting bought out, especially by Amazon, this is going to cause a whole bunch of people to invest. And that's kind of what we saw yesterday. Should you buy it? I'm staying away from it. I just think it's better to sit on the sidelines on this one just because of the volatility we've seen. Yes, this thing can go from 4 to 45, but on the flip side, look how fast it went from 45 to 5, right? It's very volatile. You got to understand that. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see some buying pressure, starting to step in. Does have some support pretty much underneath $4 for a possible swing trade / day trade opportunity. Now, another company here that is pretty cool as of today, it did make some pretty decent runs here, is Lululemon. Now, Lululemon, we'll notice here the stock went from 320 to 360. If we go ahead and we pull it up here on the daily, you'll notice just how drastic this move was. 311, to 375. Sold off a little bit here. Now, the reason why we've gotten some sell-off, or not, we gotten some buying pressures, they announced some pretty decent earnings. They're actually blowing out expectations, for the holiday season when they announced their earnings there. Now, obviously, anytime you have a beat expectations, this is going to cause a whole bunch of people to want to invest. Very similar to AMC. Now, should you invest? Lululemon is one of these companies that, for me, I think it could be a possible fad. I'm not a huge investor into fashion just because I've seen so many companies, try to be the next Lululemon and they fall off, or they squeeze up and then fall off. If we look at like the long-term history of Lululemon, you'll kind of understand what I'm saying here. So you'll notice we've seen great buying pressure here, but it hit 485 or 445, sold off all the way down to 255, back up and down. So for me, I think for me, this one here near and around 280 to 295 does carry some great opportunities for swing trades. Right in this range here, you'll notice we've just seen natural tendencies to get buying pressure. Now, the company did also announce that they could have a possible great physical year for 2023. So we'll see what happens. So for me, I think great zone to buy would be 280, 295. Zone to sell would be 350 to 360. And it's looking at that resistance range right now. So for me, I'm just going to stay away. I understand, yes, this thing could squeeze up to 430 or even 485, but I just think the risk is too high for that reward. I just think we've seen so much selling pressure in this range where, for me, I'm gonna step back and just watch this stock move. Now, the third stock here I want to talk about is CCL, also known as Carnival Cruise. Now, Carnival Cruise, what we've seen, over the past couple of years, right? You'll notice the stock won before all the lockdowns and all of that. A lot of people like to say, Carter, this thing was a great stock. Now, look at this. Look at Carnival Cruise, right? Since 1998 all the way up until 2014, that was when it had this great move. Then from 2014 till now, we've seen one thing, and that is sell-off, right? We've seen that general sell-off from 2014 all the way to 2023. Okay, so you got to understand that. Now, as of today, the company did get upgraded by a couple of analysts. Now, obviously, what do I always say? Anytime you have an analyst upgrade a stock, you're going to have a little bit of some buying pressure. That's what we saw today. Carnival Cruise pushed up about 3% because of this announcement. Now, should you invest in Carnival? Actually, I think Carnival could carry some short-term potential. Now, for like a long-term play, I probably want to invest into this, but possibly for a short-term possible day trade, swing trade, a move from 9 to 12 could be there. Not to mention, the company is really improving their profit margins as of right now. So that's always a good sign for a company looking at a possible reversal. I think there could be a small move here. We'll see what happens. But guys, you got to understand, these are highly volatile, growth stocks. The company itself burns through cash, right? So I would not hold this thing for more than a year. I just think the risk is too high for that. Cut losses, underneath pretty much $6. That's what I would do, But this one, they did announce some good and very, very interesting stuff here, where they're improving profit margins. They're actually doing relatively decent, on their revenue, which is always a good sign, beating some expectations on a couple of earnings reports, right? You'll notice earnings, we've gotten some buying pressure, earnings, some buying pressure. If we go ahead and we kind of continue to go back, earnings shortly followed, buying pressure. So earnings, huge spike of buying pressure. So, I think that this earnings could be a possible push to get this thing back up to 11. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We've also seen some other companies, that I've been buying. Obviously, if you guys follow the channel, we've talked about Google. Anytime Google's $100, I'm buying it. We've seen basic support, basic resistance, swing trade this bad boy all day long. We got Apple. Apple has very similar charts. Support at 120, resistance from 150 to 160. Obviously, this thing did have a little nice reversal breakout right in this zone here. Where it went from 150 to 160 relatively quick. So I think that was a good move if you guys caught that little trend breakout there. But, Apple's a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse. You can't go wrong with investing in it. Company brings in a ton of money. I just think that right now we're seeing, yes, a lot of volatility in the market, but also some opportunity. If you guys are looking smart, you guys will find and make some money, guys. So that's what's going on in the market. Just short video. I wanted to break down, little market movers today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Laid back, fun video. If you guys did, hit the like button, subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Remember to stay happy, guys. Stay positive and stay safe. Take care, everyone.